Hello, everybody, and welcome to round 17 of our first RSF1 season. It's nearly coming to a close. Is me, Primus Gaming, and joined with me once again is my good mate Bola. How are you doing, Bola?
I am very good. I was very psyched as well for Japan. I love Japan. To me, it's a nice classic track that you just everything about the track. Configure 8 as well. Brilliant. Cannot wait. Jesus, it's going to be a fantastic race. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I don't know if you guys at home have been keeping an eye on what's going on, because you can keep an eye on our standings and all sorts on our website, which is also pinned to our Twitter page. Our Twitter page, our website is www.racingseriesf1.wixsite.com. If you want to check it out, the live standings are on there, updated as of Russia. And I noticed the man who's been gone for a handful of weeks, he's had 3 consecutive wins. And yes, I'm talking about Skunk Burner. Skunk Burner, with these 3 consecutive wins, have put him immediately into contention in the championship. He can fight Marks for the championship now, Bodder.
Yeah, very, very true. I think this is the 5th race, or is it the 4th race left? I'm keeping my maths mixed up there. But look, round 17 of 21, there's still a lot of points left on the table. Mark at the minute currently has a 50-point lead over Skunkburner, but Mark cannot take the foot off the pedal. He cannot lift now. He needs to go. He needs to try and get as many points as he can to finish out the season. We know Skunk, he can start from the back and still get up there, still get some value points. Maybe he can get the win. He's done it before, and there's nothing worse than having the target on your back. Because if you've got a target on your back, everyone is gunning for you.
Exactly. What is really difficult about league racing is anything could happen. Azza, it was his debut, because obviously we're absent. Last week was absent Craig Senna and Jake Moore, so it was Azza and someone else running in the Red Bull team. Azza actually was fighting with Skunk Burner, waiting for the transition back in Russia for the rain. So he started on the medium compound tyre, got to like lap 23 on the mediums, and his Xbox decides to sign him out. Azza can no longer get back in. His AI immediately pits to the soft compound tyre, and as the rain comes down, everyone's on inters, but Azza's AI says, you know what, I like softs, and stays on the soft compound tyre, and then ends up plumb last. Yeah. So it was very gutting for Azza.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, felt terrible for him. Like, he had such a great race, great qualifying as well, but a fantastic race, and he was doing so well. I was expecting to see him up there, at least, top 3, top 5. Next thing, I think I was chatting to him afterwards, and basically his Xbox overheated, and when overheated, it obviously rebooted or turned off, and he couldn't get it back up and going in time, I guess.
Very, very gutting, especially when that happens, because he had really, really good form. His pace was incredible around the track. Mm-hmm. And I think, if I'm correct, our Twitch page, channel, he's nearly accumulated 200 followers.
A very good spot, Primus. Very, very good spot. We had 197 viewers today, and that was Marty Moore of the VRA in Ireland. He's now following us, so a shout out to Marty for following us. We could also give him a follow back this evening. So yeah, we're about 3 away from 200. Who would have thought that? 17 weeks ago, starting off in round 1.
Yeah, we only had maybe a handful of followers. I mean, obviously it'd be friends, family, or fellow drivers, because I know a good portion of some of the viewers will be fellow drivers. And it's hard to imagine how back in round 1 we only had a handful of viewers watching our streams, and now, Bodder, we've got nearly 200 followers on the Twitch account. We're regularly clocking in for race week anyways, up to 40 viewers. So it has been really, really good. And I think what better track to carry on with is Suzuka, because we've all seen fair share of moments happen in this track. I mean, who can forget the two collisions, not just one, but two collisions between F1 champions Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna? I remember that it was the Japanese Grand Prix. I think Prost needed to win. Senna pretty much had it in the bag, and if Prost didn't score any points I forgot what year it was, but if Prost didn't score any points, Senna would win the championship.
Yes.
And turn one, they both crash, and then Senna becomes the championship winner, although he DNF'd in the race. And then just at the chicane at the end of the track, which is the Casio Triangle, they both hit again. But this time they're both racing for the McLaren F1 team. Senna tried to go down the inside into Casio Triangle, and then just bam, they hit each other. They both DNF'd. Well, Prost did, but Senna tried to carry on, but he then got disqualified by the stewards as it was deemed illegal. So Senna received disqualification for carrying on because it was an incident. Both cars were immobile, but he did his best to try and get out there, and then he managed to do it. But
that was a bit with the chicane, wasn't it? Where he kind of went through the chicane.
Yeah,
and went on. Yeah. I remember watching that on the Senna documentary. And it was obviously you're watching it from like a viewer standpoint, but then when you kind of get it from Ayrton's viewpoint of him in the car, you're like, yeah, that's in modern day rules, that's kind of standard. You run off to the runoff zone, you kind of let everyone else pass you, and you join the track safely as if modern day rules. But obviously back in the 80s, early 90s, things were obviously very different in F1. By cutting the chicane, you're DQing yourself.
And here's what I have to give credit to the FIA on recently. The Japanese Grand Prix, they had they had practice, but they had to do qualifying on the Sunday. I remember Super Sunday. They had to do the qualifying on the Sunday because there was a typhoon that hit Japan on the Saturday, and it was very heavy from what I heard. I think, unfortunately, a couple of people, I think, sadly did lose their lives in the tragic events of that storm. I was pretty sure I heard a couple did. Hopefully, it wasn't. It's not too bad because I might have gotten that wrong. Hopefully, no one did get hurt. But I'm pretty sure when it comes to a typhoon of that magnitude, there must have been some sort of damage dealt. But anyways, the last time a typhoon hit the country and they kept everything running, was 2014. And we cannot forget the events of 2014 in Japan. And that, I think, is why when the typhoon came down this year, in real life F1, they decided to cancel the Saturday because if they raced in those conditions, we could have possibly have seen a very bad incident, maybe similar to the unfortunate accident which happened to Jules Bianchi.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate, that accident.
I remember watching that live.
Yeah, I was telling you, a friend of mine actually is a piece of carbon fiber off that car. He bought on eBay the following day, thinking, no, that's a piece of a crash F1 car. That's pretty cool. And then, over the course of the week, then we found out that Jules actually unfortunately passed away. And then my friend was there in his room looking up at this piece of carbon fiber, going, "Oh my God, that's actually belonging to a driver that unfortunately passed." But he didn't obviously buy it then. He bought it, as a crash car before obviously Jules passed. But
yeah,
very, very unfortunate accident. Like I've said it before on our stream, but if Jules are on track, it should be a double yellows. And if you go back and look through the YouTube clips, you can see it's very, very plain that the marshals, the stewards are actually on the side of the track. They're in the runoff area as the green flag's being waved. Hopefully lessons have been learned from the FIA about that and across all forms of motorsport.
And obviously, no matter what, ladies and gentlemen, that F1, the Formula Series, IndyCar, NASCAR, the Australian V8 racing, any form of motorsport comes with risk. And obviously in online racing, the risk isn't really there, but we still have to give incredible respect to the athletes, the drivers, the teams, and the marshals for putting their safety on the line to provide a show for us, the viewers, the fans. So we have to give incredible respect to them for making some certain calls. Obviously, some people will disagree with certain actions, within racing, within penalties and all sorts. But the thing is if there's rules, they have to be followed. They have to be abided
Exactly.
by. And
Yeah, that's
but
what
then
makes the league racing, But just what you're saying there about actual racing being there. If you pull up to any racing track, you pull up to Silverstone, Monza, uh, even in Ireland, you pull up Mondello. The first thing you see when you pull into Mondello, before you even pull into the car park, there's big signs saying "Motorsport is dangerous. Enter at your own risk." That's even before you go into the car
exactly.
park, before you go into the grandstand, like anything could happen. And we're talking like final destination stuff. Okay, we're swapping lobbies here, aren't we?
Yeah, I noticed we all got invites because Schumacher lagged out. He was the lobby host, and
That is correct.
so they moved the lobby. Yeah. Actually, there was an accident. I think it was F3 actually that happened. I think it's F3. Sophia Flourish. I remember her incident was quite heavy.
Oh yeah, was that Maku? Was it Maku?
I think so. It definitely was a street circuit.
Yes,
She was
went
going
flying
a bit too
backwards.
quick. I think she hit the back of another car, and it shot her up into like a tent, like a tenting arrangement they had. So they had like cameras and stuff aimed down at the track, or I think it was like a marshal's tent, and she flew into. Luckily, I mean, she did get hurt, but luckily she managed to pull through, and she's fully recovered from her injuries. So that's
Hmm.
very, very good to hear.
Yeah.
Speaking of, by the way, Juan Manuel Correa, who was in the crash with Antoine Hubert, who bless his soul. Um, Correa is pulling through. He's going through physiotherapy, and he's actually returned home to his family in America. So it's good to hear he's undergoing his therapy at his house. So as we are concerned, Juan Manuel Correa is recovering very, very well. That's good
Yeah,
to hear.
I saw that on Twitter. He posted a video. I think he was in a wheelchair, but he looked in good form. He had like an Alfa Romeo shirt on or whatever that, and he was just saying
Yeah.
best of luck to all the guys at whatever track they were racing at that week. And I was like, that's pretty cool, from a horrific crash, in Spa to getting home and nearly being able to sit up and he's a bit away from walking, but look, he's taken the physio well. So look, best luck to Carrera. He looks to be doing a good job.
And we gotta give mad respect to these guys because their willpower in staying in love with the sport, even after a serious incident, is absolutely incredible. It's admirable. I mean, look at Billy Monger. Billy Monger lost both of his legs in a serious
Yeah,
incident, and he got prosthetic legs. And guess what? He got back in that car, and he actually got a win. It's like
yeah,
no man has ever done that. Lost his legs in a Formula crash, like a Formula racing crash, come back and win it with prosthetic legs. It's incredible with how much drive and willpower these drivers have, and that's
yeah.
why I
No,
love all of the
yeah,
Formula racing because it is incredible.
it really is. Like you go from these horrific crashes, and you think sometimes the drivers might not come back as they have, but like you look at Kubica, he had a horrific crash, Ryan, all those years ago. Even that crash he had at Canada when he was driving for Williams,
Oh yeah, that was a nasty one.
he comes back, to F1. Okay, he's still in a Williams, but it's a different car than what it was. But like all that aside, to get back in and put on your helmet and to go racing again at full pace, it takes something. So it does. It takes a lot of bravery, a lot of courage to do that.
And that's why I have nothing but the absolute respect for all motorists. Well, not just motorists, but racing drivers, because injured or not, they have a drive. I mean, Lewis Hamilton, obviously the spoiler window's up now, guys, because it's been a week since it happened. Lewis Hamilton last week won his sixth championship in Formula One. So he is one above Fangio. He's one above Fangio. And now he's one under F1 legend Michael Schumacher as well. So could Lewis Hamilton be looking to maybe go to number 8 and being, nah, I'm going to leave it? Or do you think Lewis Hamilton's probably going to keep going and going and going until he can no longer win a championship?
Well, I don't know. Like, Okay, I got to hand him in fairness, he's a very good race driver. He has a great car. He's been very blessed. Can he do it? Can he do it again? Yeah, probably. To be honest, anyone who's other than Mercedes or Lewis Hamilton fan is probably looking forward to the 2021 regs and get the whole thing changed, and hopefully with some closer, tighter competition in F1, because that's what everyone wants to see. They don't want to see, the same two cars or two teams pulling away with it every season. You want to see a bit of competitiveness in it.
Yeah, exactly. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, as me and Bodo, a little bit cloudy for the Japanese Grand Prix. Actually, am I seeing that right? As a little bit of that's just my TV screen. I thought I saw a little like droplets.
It looks cloudy.
So we've only got 12 drivers for today because unfortunately not all of them could make it. So we'll only be running with 12 for the moment. So we've had this a couple of times in other divisions, where in Q1 it's pretty much our practice session. It's our first practice session. Q2 is really when don't put it in the wall, because even if you set a really good time, even if you're on pole for that session, if you crash into the wall, you're down the back of the grid, my friend. And the thing is because there's only 12 cars for today, obviously that means there won't be probably won't be too many cars cluttered up together. So if anyone has a little bit of an issue and they fall well down the grid, then it'll be very hard to catch back up again, especially in Suzuka, of all sorts of places.
Suzuka overtaken, it can be done, but you have to risk things. 130R. Someone asked me this earlier on season, saying, what's your favourite corner in the whole calendar? I think 130R is actually my favourite straight and turn. I think that's my favourite. If you manage to put her on the outside or inside of 130R and pull it off, well done to you. That's a good job.
And I think you're going to be happy to hear, Bodder, I do have some track knowledge on here. So an onboard is looking quite probable. So everyone, if you know me and Bodder, you got to know me and Bodder. Bodder is famous for his nicknames. He's the one who nicknamed the man with the cash, who is actually surprisingly not here today. So Bodder is the man who nicknamed the man with the cash, who changed his name from Josh of Dosh, Raisin Jason, and he's also famous for his formation laps. So, and also when I go for my onboards, that's his cue to go get himself a nice cola, or if he's feeling a little bit, celebratory, he'll grab himself a drink.
Well, it's Japan, it's Suzuka, and I love Suzuka. I love watching Suzuka. I think it's a great track. So I actually went and got myself some Polish beer. Apparently it's quite high in percentage, so that's what I'll be opening up whenever you're doing a run board. I'll be cracking that open, so you'll probably hear it as well.
Well, let's do an onboard with Pite as you go get yourself your drink. So going down the main straight after the last curve, so going into the first turn, so through turns 1 through 2, so this is where Senna and Prost had their famous crash in turn 1. There you go. So here's like the S sections, turns 3, 4, 5 and 6. So you go for the S curves. Nicely done. That's very good. And here is the Dunlop curve. So he is pushing nice through there. Paita has actually been performing really well lately. And now into the Degner curve. This is where Daniel Kvyat in the Red Bull back in 2015 unfortunately clipped grass and then had a really, really nasty off. There you go. Through into the hairpin. It's quite nice. It's actually been a lot of action here. There's the Polish beer. You might have heard it firsthand. Through turns 12, he goes. Paita is now moving through to the spoon curve. He's looking very good. Now here comes the straight. So charging down the straight, down to 130R. Here's where Charles Leclerc hold on to his left mirror as he was going through here because it was damaged. So through 130R, flat out, very nice there. Out through into the Casio Triangle. Here again is where Senna and Prost crashed when they were in the McLaren team together as teammates. And going through the last curve, Paita sets himself a 1:29.5 in the Mercedes. So that is the baseline for, I'd say, today's practice session, because in reality, no one's going out here. Listen to Bodder. Life could not be better for the man. He is enjoying a nice brew.
Oh, I'm enjoying it, Brian. I'm enjoying it. Look, this is going to be fantastic. Look, the guys have some time. They've been practicing. Do whatever to do. Like, it could be last minute changes on maybe the aero, braking, anything on to do with their setup. You can make a couple of changes. Now is your time to go and test it real quick. Get a few laps in. Prepare yourselves for Q2. Get those strategies done. It's looking a bit better because we're going to see a better race now. I reckon we're going to see a nice, tighter race because of this.
Actually, there's one thing we haven't received yet, is a weather report. And by the way, we've only just started Q1, dry all round. That's it was going to be a nice and easy race. Well, not easy, but it'll be much better because I know a lot of people don't really like the rain. I think Mr. T actually has, even back in F4, Mr. T, like rain was his kryptonite.
Oh yes, some racers, man, they just, when the rain comes, they just fall apart, absolutely fall apart. And then other racers, they revel, they're throwing their hands up in the air going, hallelujah, whenever the rain comes, as in Rondo. The Rain Man. He's actually retired already. He's retired. He's saving his tires. That's what he's doing. He's saving his tires. He's doing all the practice he needs. He doesn't need any more practice. He's going to sit back now, go on his phone for 15 minutes, then get into Q2.
And we are on board, well, not on board, but we are viewing Skunkburner, who is second place in the Drivers' Championship, who is actually not too far away from catching up to a close friend of his, Magic Marks. I have a feeling, because Skunk's been gone for a handful of weeks, we already talked about this at the beginning of the session for the comms, but I seriously think Skunkburner's already gotten the hat trick, you know. Could you see maybe a quadruple consecutive win for Skunkburner? I have, like, this man is unstoppable. Like, everyone laughs at the Williams for being a boat of a car, but I mean, that was actually near the Dunlop curve. So that is actually where the unfortunate incident for Jules Bianchi actually happened back in 2014 after Adrian Sutil went off at the safety car. And I actually do miss the 2014 cars. I know they weren't really that great in terms of, like, in the game, but I like the 2014 cars. My personal favourite, I'd say, I mean, the Lotus just looked like you just picked up a chip fork from fish and chip shop and, you know, you just spray painted it black and gold, you know, and just went, yeah, that'll do. I actually really liked Force India's design back then. Force India had a really nice, and McLaren as well. McLaren was like a nice silver and black, you know, the Johnny Walker sponsors. Not a sponsor, by the way, lads. I mean, I wish we were, but not a sponsor.
No. Maybe next season.
Maybe next season? You never know. Actually, here's a point, Bonner. Because of how our league has been growing as a whole, we could potentially, and this is just as like a maybe a possible thing in the future, it might get cool if we do get sponsored by something.
Possibly, we have to look into that whenever it comes. Right now, it's run as a non-profit organisation, so if it is made off, it goes straight back into the league. And, you know, no one actually pockets the money from the league, if there was ever such a thing. But that's how we plan to run things with that. It's funny you mentioned about how the way with the league, because last night I was kind of going through things for how we're going to be prepping into season 2, and I basically gathered all our notes, because remember I was talking in the podcast a couple weeks ago how we have weekly meetings that the committee do, and we had 143 pages on Word.
143.
Yeah, that's so. It gives you an idea of how much we've discussed in length at this season. We're only week 17, 143 pages of agendas and notes, and everything we've pretty much discussed. I went through last time to put out stuff that we're going to need for season 2 and to obviously get working on that. So, for anyone who's there out looking or listening to us going, yeah, you guys are just another F1 league. No, we're not. We take this pretty seriously. 143 pages. We're running week 17. 143 pages of notes, agendas, anything that has come up that we want to pen to paper and go, let's improve this. This is how we make things better. So that's how serious we are, guys.
Since the league began, we have done nothing but grow as a team. Not just the drivers, the committee, the division heads, even the commentators. Every single member in the league has grown, and I think it's really been amazing because we've got loads of awesome people. I mean, we've had our fair share of ups and downs in the league, but then again, it's our first season. It was its debut. It was just hoping it'd go well, and it was a little bit bumpy at the start. We had a couple of issues because obviously we just had to try and establish a few things. But ever since, I'd say maybe week 3, week 4. But after that, that's when we started to really find the really good ground with the league. That's when we started to see, that's actually been doing really, really good, And I have nothing but the utmost respect for the commission, the committee. The committee is been working around the clock to prepare the rules, as well as the stewards, the division heads. Every single person in the higher roles within the league have been doing nothing but working their socks off to give us what we work for today, and also for you lot at home to enjoy really good shows. Azza, by the way, before we carry on with that, a 128 dead. A 128-8 dead. That's perfect. And that is really nice. And actually, we did talk about Azza earlier. He almost could have seen a potential podium back in Russia. I mean, Russia had its fair share of penalties, not from the stewards, mainly from the game, because it's actually very, very strict when it comes to its track limits.
It is. You can't extend the limits at all the track. Oh, excuse me. I must be sounding like a robot because yes, that beer is hitting you hard, but you sound like a robot. I sound like a robot.
Please tell me you've had something to eat.
it's like I had a bit of Chinese or so it's nice. It was nice. I might just do it in a second. I might
where's
just
kebabs? Now that. Well,
it's the weekend. It's the weekend. And Suzuka, man. Come on, it's Suzuka.
I'm cracking myself a drink as well. Yep, I've got myself one.
That's a monster.
No,
right
actually,
there.
no. It's not a monster. Oh, little bit of a moment there because the Williams, I think that was off Matt. No, that was off Skunk Burner.
Skunk, yeah.
It was Azza trying to get past Skunk, and then Azza went off the track. I don't know if Azza was on his lap because I know he's backed off now, but. Bit of tension there between the Williams and the Red Bull there. Hopefully no harm done. They're going to carry on. They're going to keep pushing because it looks like Azza is preparing himself for another run, or he's maybe going into the pits. So we'll do a quick little run through the classifications for Q1 because, as we said, no one's going out unless an incident happens. So we'll go over the classifications for that. So Azza stands in first place with a 128.8. Skunk Burner. Oh, and then that looks like Azza just lost it on the last curve. Luckily, he hasn't hit anything. But that was
damage.
That was close. That was close.
Very close. Very close. You can pick up a little bit of damage, but that's, as I said, his tires not obviously used. Look at Skunk Burner. Skunk Burner still has the same set of tires on, just doing lap after lap. That's practice. That's what he gets in his last few practice laps.
I think it's like you get 3 Oh, that's actually Alfa Romeo, Mr. T. That's actually gone out on the first sector. I just noticed when we were on board with Skunk. There was a sideways Alfa Romeo, so Azza and Mr. T are struggling to get around here, and it's dry. Mr. T hates the wet, but it looks like even in the dry he's struggling around here. Schumacher, he's happy where he is. Obviously, he's not going anywhere. He's not going out of the session. He's going to say, you know what, I've done a lap or so on the soft compound tyres. I think I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you mentioned the weather, like, Brundle messaged me on this, and I was basically, anticipating the message. I was kind of reading it in my head going, yeah, he's going to be looking for rain. Nope. Complete opposite. He says he's terrible. He says this is his worst track. He says he does not want to see rain here this evening. So look, Brundle, I think is getting his wish tonight to be no rain for Brundle.
And I think I would like to say for the moment to our viewers, if you have any questions, because we don't normally get, we've had 40 viewers. I think we topped out on, 44 last
47.
week. I remember 47. That's a good shout. So if any of you have any questions, because I know a lot of people came in sort of near the end point of the season, If you have any questions regarding the league, or if you just have any questions about our drivers or to me and Bodder personally, please feel free to leave a comment down in the Twitch chat, and Bodder will keep an eye out, and he will try and get to the questions as best as we can. But if you want to get to know us personally, please feel free. We're not going to ignore you, the viewers. We're here for you.
We're here. We've always said it's a league run by the racers for the racers, so don't be afraid to chime in. Oh yeah, just to give you an update as well, guys. Peppermint and Shane are going to miss qualifying, but they will be here for the race, so obviously they're going to join a bit later on. But they're going to start at the back. If you ever want to see two fast drivers start at the back of Suzuka, Peppermint and Shane, those are two guys.
Shane's been on a roll in the season.
Oh, absolute roll.
He's actually
absolute
had 3 podiums. I think I remember that was Germany. It was... it's definitely Germany.
Singapore?
There was
Russia?
one in Singapore.
Russia?
Not in Russia.
No.
There's one before Singapore.
Monza?
That's it. Forgot about that for a second. Shane got a podium there. So they will be starting at the back of the grid. And also, Bodder, I think we have to send some get well wishes to a good friend of ours, RSF1 who is not feeling very well at the moment. And if you're watching this I hope you get better, bud, and hopefully you'll be racing with me on Wednesday. If not, get some rest, mate. Make sure you beat this bad case of man flu, and we'll see you in there.
I said to my girl, I said, well, I like to get candid, because in Ireland, betting goes wrong. If you're, I don't know, you're doing your exams, or you have a big interview, or something's coming up big in your life, and you need a bit of luck. Sure, mammy, I like the candle. Good mammy, I like the candle. Or granny, I like the candle. So I said to myself, well, I like to the candle. Well, it was two. We both laughed over that. That was great.
And you two are really good friends outside the league, because I remember. Obviously, Paul and his pedal. Oh! I've lost John Digweed, actually! Just as I was about to go on about you borrowing Thor's pedals, John Digweed actually managed to get through the S sector, the first sector, and loses it at the Dunlop curve, just the same as Pie Eater and Mr. T did earlier on in the session. So that was a very close call. Well done to John there, because the car was completely sideways, and he managed to save that. No damage done. I mean, those tyres are probably a little bit shot, but you know what? John. No harm done. He's still in it.
Yeah, well done, John. Good save there. Good save. Good recovery. Keep the car one piece for Q2 as well. It's very important.
So now only a handful of cars actually remain. Actually, good welcome back, because he's been in and out of races lately. XRL Mansell. So it's good to see Mansell back in. We've got so many different kind of names, because I know we have Senna, but he's not here at the moment. We've got Schumacher, we've got Mansell, we've got Brundle. I mean, like this is getting mad. We just need like a Lacey and all sorts, and then like we just need one name.
And a Hakkinen. We need a Hakkinen. God. I'm surprised no one is going to Hakkinen. We have a Raikkonen. We've no Hakkinen. We need a Hakkinen, guys. Come on. So someone in the league, in their Discord server, has to change the name to RSF1 Hakkinen. It's not for me.
Well, I mean, eventually it'll come around. It's been a nice little bandwagon that everyone's been going to. Just for a little bit of fun. It's like, if you could be RSF1, insert name here. If you could be any kind of driver of that, who would you be? Obviously, I've already called dibs. I mean, I've not changed my gamer tag because I've got to save my money like a good boy. My claimed driver name is RSF1 Ricardo, because Ricardo is my favourite driver, and he was also my father's favourite driver. But I liked Ricardo before my dad did, so I always kept on saying, shove off, first on first. It's like that's my driver name, Dad. You can go get another one. You like Webber? Go be RSF1 Webber.
You're asking personal questions. It's in the chat there now. So AMS Easton has asked Bodda, did you eat your Lucky Charms this morning? Well, I tell you, Easton, I didn't eat my Lucky Charms. I ate my porridge.
Oh, you've done a Valtteri Bottas. Remember when Bottas won in Australia and Webber went up onto the podium and he went, all right, before we do anything, I have one question for this man. What the hell did you eat this morning? and And I love Mark Webber's like his comedy because it was like obviously because Bottas never. Whoa, okay,
Skunk
128.7,
on
300ths of a second
old
faster
socks.
than. Oh mate, yeah. What the hell is that? Get that man on fresh softs. He could be seeing the fastest lap.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at there. 8 lap old softs, and he's there pulled off the fastest lap. That's practice for you.
And then, yeah, and just to go over the classifications for you, as no cars have been knocked out of Q1 because no driver has crashed, and also that you need 16 or more cars to have anyone knocked out of Q1. So as it stands for the top three, Skunk Burner gets a 128.797 on the soft compound tyres after doing 8 laps in the Williams. F1 Azza in the Red Bull, a 128.8 dead on 3 lap old softs. And then John Digweed, a 129.010 in the Mercedes after 4 laps on the soft compound tyres. He also had that slight spin at the Dunlop curve, and it was also a very good save as the Magic Marks, the championship leader, is now going into the pits after finishing, which has pretty much been our practice session.
Yeah, it's good. We got a lot of banter. We had a bit of fun. We're in the Twitch chat. We're having a bit of crack. So I was on the drink. You were also having a drink. It's all good. We're having a good time. It's Suzuka week. Yes, I love Suzuka. Did I mention
And I think it's safe to say I think Suzuka might be your favourite track because you've cracked open the cold one. You cracked open a special beer for the occasion. Like, come on, buddy. You normally have any other drink, but you've cracked open a nice Polish beer. That's a celebration in and of itself.
It is, man. I love Suzuka. I really do. It's a classic track. It's not like the new modern tracks we have, like Kota, Baku, or something like that. It's like long straight, a few S's, and a 90 return, another long straight. Like, don't get me wrong, they are kind of somewhat nice tracks, that just gets a bit boring. Suzuka, this is a nice traditional track. This track dates back, this is a nice track.
A really, really old track, because I think it wasn't always at Suzuka, because do you remember like tracks at Melbourne and Suzuka, they weren't always there. There was other tracks before them. I think I remember before Silverstone was actually Donington Park. So
now you're going back.
Yeah, now we're going back. We're going over F1 history. I remember Ayrton Senna starting 4th place. No, he fell down to 4th place in the opening lap of a wet race at Donington Park, and he managed to get past Nigel. I think it was Michael Schumacher. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I know Nigel Mansell was there. I think it was the Williams. He definitely got past the 2 Williams and Michael Schumacher. So he went from 4th to 1st in that race, and I think it was who was it? Recently they just done the festival commemorating Senna in Brazil.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Everyone's saying what do you think was Senna's crown achievement? Though? His first championship, his first podium, and I went no. It has to be when he won his first race in Lotus, because I think it was a wet race and he had no traction control. He had no traction control whatsoever, and he ran that race, and I think he won that race as well.
I forget what year it was. Wasn't he in Interlagos one year, and it was something wrong with his gearbox? So he had 2 gears or something like that.
Yeah. He only had 6th gear near the end of the race, and he actually won that race, and Ayrton Senna actually collapsed from how tired he was from that. I think it's emotionally and physically draining. I think if you look on YouTube, the top 5 onboard radios with the wins, Ayrton Senna takes number 1, because when he won the race, he didn't cry, he didn't say anything, he screamed in complete awe and happiness and pain. Because he won winning it that he never won in Brazil, and that was his first time winning at his home race in McLaren. The car was pretty much broken, none of his gears worked, and the man won. I liked Ayrton Senna. Obviously, my favourite driver is Ricciardo. He's not a champion. I think he's a good driver, but Ayrton Senna, he's the only man I've ever heard to have lost pretty much all of his gears in a race near the end point and still won. That is an incredible feat of skill.
Definitely, I'm just seeing who's going on laps at the minute. It's a mixed bag at the minute for tyre selection at the minute. Brian, so we only have one guy on hards at the minute. Asa out on hards. Everyone else he is out on softs or mediums now at good change, so we're then the Q2. But it looks to be 50-50 at the minute for between the softs and the mediums, apart from obviously Asa's going for hards, but I'm assuming that will change as well.
And Mr. T goes very wide, going after passing through Skunkburner on the lap. So I think Mr. T is now going to back off for a moment. Let's have a little look at Asa, because Asa's always has been pretty on point so far with his racing track record in RSF1 with his tyre strategy. I mean, obviously it's unfortunate about what happened with his Xbox, but other than that, his tyre strategy was on point, because 23 laps, because I remember the Russian Grand Prix was 27 laps. This man here, ladies and gentlemen, in the Red Bull here, Asa, he did, I think, 23 laps on the mediums before his game crashed on him. The rain came about 2 laps after his Xbox crashed. If Asa didn't crash, I have a feeling he could have either potentially won or at least got second place, because his pace
was up there.
Real.
Yeah, no, definitely, he was up there. It was completely unfortunate that, obviously his Xbox had a bit of a panic attack or heart attack and just basically shut itself off. But if only, He mentioned me tonight just saying, he's hoping obviously for a podium, but, I was going to say to him, I hope you do well, good luck, whatever, and he said to me, yeah, as long as his Xbox doesn't overheat again. It's like, poor Xbox.
Well, best of luck to Asa, and I think everyone at home will be wishing him good luck as well in the race. And currently right now, the only car to have set a benchmark for Q2 is WOR Stretch, a 1:30.2. And meanwhile, Paita and Asa have invalidated lap times, so they will have to go around again. Patronus, he comes the second in the qualifying session with 1:37.6. But I think Patronus might have made a mistake on that lap, so he would probably go round and try again with that. Mansell on his outlap, same with John Digweed, and the cars have not pit. Oh, yeah, there's Schumacher. 1:30.1.
On the mediums as well, nice.
So, obviously, we ask this question every now and then. We've got some more viewers, so it'll be nice to see a little bit more views on the outside. If you could see a main brand, like a car manufacturer, come back to the sport, who would you pick? Because I personally think these few brands would be kind of cool to see come back, but unfortunately they don't have the money, or they don't feel it's worth investing, because obviously you've got the likes of Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari just taking the top spots mostly. But I'd say Toyota would be probably nice to see come back. Toyota was a very strong car manufacturing name. BMW.
I remember talking about that. Yeah, BMW powered Williams for a long time. They were great actually. Ford Cosworth.
Powering Montoya. That was back when Montoya and Schumacher had the rivalry. I'm trying to think of who else would probably be a decent return. I'd say for the moment just them two, but I'll leave it to you viewers if you want to join in with that discussion, because it's been brought up a couple of times, but it's still one of those age-old questions, thinking, who would you like to come back?
I'd love to see Volkswagen enter into it. I know Volkswagen, obviously, they're a parent company and all these kind of going into, the e-tron and all that type of thing, electronic racing or electric racing, but, this is the hybrid. Come on, it's only a 1.6 litre engine. Throwing a battery into it, you're fine, away you go. I'm delighted to see Honda doing so well. Honda's doing great with Red Bull and Toro Rosso. I'd like to see more manufacturers using the Honda engine.
What about maybe Nissan? If Nissan maybe had an F1 team.
Well, Nissan are owned by Renault. So that's where that will come in. But Renault themselves have very, very strong history in motorsport and F1.
Before we carry on with that, John Digweed sets fastest lap of the session, 1:29.3 in the Mercedes. So very good work from John there. I was going to actually say before we carry on with that conversation, we're absent of the man with the cash. You've lost your favourite driver.
I wouldn't say my favourite driver now, but he's up there. He's up there. He's a cool guy even on the podium, so he is. Look, there's a few drivers there who are just not here tonight, but look, It's all well and good. We got enough drivers here. We can do this. I'm just actually reading the chat. That's probably why I sounded awful. GPS said Fiat 500, Reliant,
Fiat
MG,
500.
Lamborghini, Kia, Audi, SsangYong, Smart Car. And then usually Hush goes, I better be your favourite. His favourite driver. Yeah, you're leading that phone, don't worry, you're my favourite driver usually. Yeah. I got your back, bro.
Lamborghini is actually a really good shout because obviously, in terms of competitiveness between Italian brand of cars and not just race cars but performance cars, road cars, obviously Lamborghini has always tried to be one step ahead or maybe even beside Ferrari because they don't want to be left behind in terms of who's got the fastest Italian sports car. I mean Maserati even as well. Although it's been a little bit of a while since we heard from Maserati.
I was going to say, Lamborghini is actually part of the Audi group, Volkswagen group. So it all comes back to the parent companies. It's the same thing with Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo is part of the Fiat group. Who's in the Fiat group? Ferrari.
I think I remember Fiat was actually a main sponsor once for the Ferrari F1 team.
They were back in the early 90s, yeah. I actually have a little Matchbox F1 car, that's what I do somewhere up back there.
I actually have a little it's a little model Jaguar F1 car. And, seeing all the old brands of alcohol, because that's when back in the day, they weren't afraid to,
of
have
course not.
All sorts of different kinds. I mean, Heineken still sponsors, I think, the Italian Grand Prix. When you go to the Italian Grand Prix in real life or you watch it on the telly, Heineken's still quite a prominent sponsor there.
Yeah. When you go back to the sponsors, Jordan, remember Jordan F1 team? They were sponsored by Benson Hedges. That was obviously a big boast whenever Benson Hedges obviously got taken away from them. But
Marlboro, or as some people call it, Marlboro, depending on how you like to pronounce it. They used to be prominent sponsors of the McLaren and Ferrari F1 team. They were very, very hard to please because it's almost like they went with the winning team. They didn't care. It was like, Ferrari, are you winning anymore? No. You know what? We're going to leave you lot here to just revel in whatever you're doing. I'm going to McLaren. I mean, they did that with Playboy and F1 legend James Hunt. They went with him in McLaren, and I think it was after Hunt left. I think they stayed with them for a little while, and then they went to Ferrari again. Then they went back to McLaren. So Marlboro just kept going backwards and forwards. They were yo-yo of a sponsor.
Exactly, whoever the winner was. But we're going to stop right there, Primus, because it's in the chat. We need to start waving. Camo has asked for some waving. So I'm going right over to my window right now, Camo. Oh, where is headset? Okay, Camo, just for you. I'm waving out the window. I'm waving towards the east. I hope you're seeing me, buddy.
Oh, and Shane's joined the session. We have been joined by the other Pink Panther, and I can only just imagine how your neighbours are thinking at the moment. It's just like, what's he doing out the window again?
Every Sunday, it's the exact same thing. What is he doing?
It's like, does he want to come over for a cup of tea? I mean, like, if you want to, just ask.
Yeah,
into, like, the Irish man with the cash. You're knocking at the door. And this, like, guys, if you don't, if you're new to joining us on Sundays, I'd say F2 is probably, even over my racing on Wednesday, F2 is probably my favourite point of the week. I have to say, because I've got a really good team in the comms box. Me and Bodder, great team. And we always get great action. I even actually say these lot actually have shown more entertainment than I actually, there's a lot of other people good in the league, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good drivers, but these lot just never fail to amaze me and Bodder, because Spain, Skunkburn are fighting. Whoa!
That's the two marks.
Do you see what I mean? Now. Do you see what I mean? It's a 1-2 with the Mercedes F1 team. Here's the thing, guys. John Digweed and Paita used to be a backmarker team. And now look at them. Put first and second position.
In Q2. They're leading the way in Q2.
So
Still,
the Mercedes,
shows
well,
competitiveness.
if you use the Mercedes on the top spot, there you go. Bam, 1-2.
Now, Primus, there is one thing I want to direct your attention to. Look down the bottom there. Danger zone! 11th.
Oh, it is
Skunk
the Rain
Burner.
Man
And
and Skunk Burner.
Okay, so Brundle's actually out before Skunk. Skunk's only after starting his last. Brundle is just finished up Sector 1 now. He's throwing it in there. Lovely to see from the Renault driver. He's just under the bridge there now.
WR Stretch is also his fellow teammate in the Renault. There is the slow-moving car of, I think that's Paita, who's allowing Brundle to get by without impeding his lap. So very good work there to Paita. And as Brundle continues to... in the second sector, here we go. He's doing really well. Azza, he feels he's safe in fourth. A minute and 50 seconds to
We're going
go.
to lose two drivers. We're going to lose two, but you don't want to beat those two drivers. You don't want to be sitting there as you do watching Q3 going, I could have been there. I could have done that. Because if you are starting 11 12, who do you have starting behind you? You have Peppermeat, you have Shane right behind you that will be going through you, so they will get up there.
So they will be knocking at the door in the beginning of the race. And Brundle, he goes around the last curve, and Brundle gets provisional the first place in Q2, a 1:28.9. So very good job there from
That knocks
Brundle.
down
So
Jake
he will
Moore.
be starting
Jake Moore's on the lap
on the
as well.
soft
Skunk
compound
is in the
tyre.
last
Jake,
sector.
oh, and Skunk Burner is actually looking like he's losing a little bit of speed. The person who's not... Oh, no, there you go, he's second place. I know, I said it. I thought he was going a bit slow there. And I was like, what's going on with Skunk?
Stretch is on a lap.
Ooh. Stretch and Jake Moore are in the danger zone.
Look at this. Patronus is about to start his insurance lap. This is all the play for her. This is fantastic, so it is. So...
And WR
Stretch is
Stretch!
through.
He pushes
Stretch is
himself to
through.
7th. Stretch is safe. So
Let's see what happens
Patronus
to Jake
going out
Moore.
on his safety lap. Jake Moore, come on, let's have a little look at Jake Moore. He's going down that straight. It's the...
130R.
and then going through 130R, flat out. He's in overtake mode, so he's maximising the speed that he can in the straight, in the higher gear.
Lovely. Go on, Jake.
There you go. Jake Moore goes round last curve. Can Jake save himself from this
Yes.
goal position? He
Nice one,
is!
Jake.
8th place, Mr. T!
Schumacher,
He's nearly getting in
Schumacher.
the danger area.
Schumacher starting his lap now. So it's Patronus
Oh,
we're gonna look at
Schumacher
now.
only just managed to do it. Patronus, I don't think Patronus is... Oh no, Patronus is on his lap, sorry. I thought, I thought Patronus was on...
That's it.
So,
Q2 is over, lads.
Mansell is the driver in danger. He could be knocked down if Schumacher or Patronus can set a better lap time. And right now, both of them are open for play. Stretch managed to survive, and so does Jake Moore. Azza is safe. Even if Schumacher and Patronus do a faster lap, Azza is safe. But Mr. T and Mansell are not safe. They could potentially be knocked down the pecking order. So let's keep an eye on Schumacher for a moment. No, Schumacher is at the hairpin. Patronus is closer to setting a lap
Patronus,
time.
yeah, Patronus at 130R. It's time to go through the gut at 130R. Look at that flat straight through it. Bring up the last chicane here.
Oh, and there you go. He goes through here, and he's got the slow-moving car of WR Stretch, who's now returning to the pit. Can Patronus save himself? And where he's at? He can!
does.
Patronus is third. That's
Mansell's
knocked Mansell out of Q2.
Now Schumacher.
All eyes are on Schumacher. Can Schumacher get himself through into Q3? Here is the penultimate moment for the Haas driver. He's got nearly no battery left. He's always struggled with battery, no matter what, in a race
This
or
will knock
in
out to Bitsy if he
qualifying.
gets through. This will knock out to Bitsy.
Here we go. Round the last curve. Can Schumacher do it? Schumacher crosses the line. And he can. Mr. T and Mansell have been knocked out of Q2. So the qualification for Q2, as it stands, eliminated is Mr. T and XRL Mansell. Brundle takes first place with a 1:28.992. Skunkburner second with a 1:29.032. And Patronus is in third. Unfortunately, the game took away the leaderboard before I could actually read that time. But
That
still...
looked really, really good, didn't it? It was kind of looked like, yeah, we're doing a few laps here, there, guys, testing the tire compound. It looked like about 2.5, maybe 3 minutes left in Q2. We just saw quick fire after quick fire. I was like, no, I'm not going to get knocked out. I'm not getting knocked out. Take it away.
I mean, Azza was third. Azza was third from... Actually, no, he was about third or fourth at one moment.
Yeah,
and then
look what you
Azza got
did.
knocked down the grid. So
Yeah.
I think in Q2, never retire too early, even if it's 2 minutes left. If you've got a handful of people that you know could set faster times, don't retire, because you could be potentially ruining your strategy, because Mr. T, he retired thinking he was safe, and now look, he's starting 11th place in the Japanese Grand Prix.
Yeah. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. Will we get Mansell for a quick chat? See if he's available.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get Mansell in. And here is the penultimate moment. Q3. 10 cars left. If Mansell can't get in, we will see about maybe getting either Mr. T or Shane in. That's if Mansell can't get in. If Mansell gets in, then Shane and Mr. T will have to wait until later maybe for an interview, if they maybe get onto the podium or if we interview them later. But Mansell, if you are watching the stream, please, the comms box is open for you to step into. And there he is, Mansell.
There he is, Mr. Mansell. Tick your box, please.
Hello, Mansell.
Hello.
If you could tick the box in the chat so the people could hear you.
That looks very, very close, man. Q2, it just seemed like you were just there coming on the pecking order. Boom, boom, boom. And next
It was a little close, yeah. I don't know why it was that close, to be fair. Yeah, it was. I just made a slight mistake in, I think it was just before sector 2, I think Zed School. I just made a slight little mistake there, cost me an attempt there.
Cost you,
yeah, just a little bit, but no, I'm happy with the setup anyway, so should be alright with that.
How do you
what's your
reckon
goals?
the race do?
Should be a good one, to be fair. I'm hoping for a good race.
Now, you know you're Shane, start behind you.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's gonna be hard to keep them back. But I can just keep it staying going into turn 1. We'll see what happens after that, I think.
And you've got your teammate, Skunk Burner. Are you hoping to score some good points with Williams today?
Oh, can't you guys? Quiet.
Oh.
Heard a small back winner. Good runs.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of echo. Are you still there, Mansell?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Oh, okay, cool. The echo sorted. I was going to say, your teammate, Skunk Burner, obviously, having scored 3 consecutive wins over the past few races, he is actually looking very strong for the start of this the championships. Well, not start, well, like the near on the end of the season, because he could actually win the championship if he continues to score consecutive wins.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him on that one.
Are you going to try and help Williams score some extra points? Because obviously Skunk Burner's going to try and fight for the top spot. I know you're going to do your best to try join him up there and maybe even score some points.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get some points in that, yeah. I mean, Japan's one of my favourite tracks anyway, it's one of my stronger ones, so yeah, I'm hoping.
Oh, look forward to
some points. Yeah, it is one of my favourite ones, I do like this track. So.
Good stuff.
We'll just keep that car on the grass stuff for turn 1. Yeah, should be good.
Well, all the best, Mansell.
Yeah.
We'll wish you all the best for your race start, and maybe, just maybe, we might be able to speak to you later on in the podium. So
fingers crossed.
Best of luck for your race, my friend, and we will speak to you in a bit.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
And so going over the session for the moment, as it stands in Q3, Schumacher has left the session. He's lagged out, and Mr. T has also left. But Mr. T's was out in Q2, so as long as he gets back in before the end of Q3, Mr. T will be able to start the race. So that's also the first time we've actually spoken to Mansell in the
It was, that's why I wanted to get him in. Yeah, exactly. Just like you were going to say, we don't really get a chance to talk to some of these drivers, you know, kind of the mid-pace guys that are battling. So it was nice to get Mansell in, to hear his voice, to hear his opinion on things.
And it's like he's looking forward to just getting out there, racing on his favourite track and just doing so. Whoa, and Skunk Burner, there you go, a 1:28.632 on the soft compound tyre. So very good run there from Skunk. Obviously that's the baseline for the moment. We saw 8 minutes left of the session. Magic Mark's a 1:28.4. Just as I said, that's the benchmark. Mark saw it, he beat it.
Yep, that's what we're going to start seeing now. Jake Moore across the line, third. Like 909. It was well trying to come through. That's great.
Yeah, Petronas 1:29.382. And McLaren.
I think
obviously.
I think we have a couple of birthdays has been recently, Primus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I had Raikkonen last Wednesday, and
Spiral Acer Facer, happy birthday, dude.
and I think Jake Moore as well.
Jake Moore. Happy birthday, Jake Moore. Jake Moore is racing tonight. Big thumbs up from the comms team. Hope it does well.
Yeah, big thumbs up, buddy.
Happy birthday, guys.
So, yeah, if you guys want a shout out or anything, you want to say hi, you want to give a shout out to any family or friends in the chat, please put it down. Again, we are dry league racing. If you guys want to say something or anything like that, please comment down below. Nice and clean.
Jake for top 3. What do you reckon about that? No, that
is a possibility because Jake Moore did get pole in Monza. That is a possibility.
Yeah. Junior says to take a shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Junior, fellow F4 driver. He did a really good drive back in Russia. Although
stand up now.
I wish I could have gone.
Go to the window again. Go to the window.
I've got a wave. My neighbours are now looking at me like I'm probably not very well in the head.
Mark says, "Going for
sorry." Who said something about Man with the Cash? Hey! It's not a party without the Man with the Cash. He heard birthdays, Man with the Cash, he's coming to the party. He's knocking at that door.
He doesn't want to be left behind. He does not want to be left behind. Jake Moore, actually speaking, knocking at the door. There's a driver that could be looking for a podium very soon. Hopefully he gets one in the season. Such a fantastic job this season so far. Azza's retired.
Oh, Azza's retired. That's a bit early, isn't it?
That's terminal damage.
If it was terminal damage... Oh, he crashed!
He's left a wreck somewhere.
Oh, no!
That's not good for Azza.
It's going to harm him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that is not good for him. And he was looking for a podium as well, but he said earlier on, it's not a great track for him, but as I said earlier on, his focus Xbox doesn't go up.
Well, I hope it doesn't, because we didn't know how he was going to do for Russia. And he was incredible around there.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So, cars that have currently not set laps at the moment is RSF1 Schumacher, WR Stretch, and John Digweed. So, these 3 are looking to try their best to put some times in before it's the end of Q3, because obviously, as you know, lads, if you get a nice quick time, it helps in your start for the race. If you're further down the back of the grid, heck, it could help just in case something happens, and touch wood, nothing does. But sometimes if you're starting near the middle back point of the race and something happens, there sometimes is a clear for you to just shoot through and make up some serious positions.
Yeah. I just looking here. Jake Moore said that he'd have a chance to Q3, but he was kind of doubting himself. But look, he's made himself into Q3. He's happy enough for that. But he's kind of getting the same thing that the man with the cash got in Russia. That was kind of connect all the corners together. It's just not working for him like it was in last year's game. So hopefully Jake Moore is a good outcome this evening and it clicks for him. But he says he knows the strategy. He's down for his strategy, so he reckons he's on for tonight. He's looking for a decent top 5, if not hopefully a podium.
And here's also interesting, the 2 Mercedes of Paita and John Digweed, obviously they make it into Q3. Oh, that's it, DRM Marco. I remember Marco was as his teammate, because obviously they were both filling in for the Red Bull team.
That's correct.
And I heard that, Polo. So, welcome back to Marco and Polo. Beat you to it. Welcome back to him. Obviously, he will be filling in for whatever car the game will be able to put him in. It's the same with actually Shane, Peppermeat, and Man with the Cash, because they joined in late. They might not get their usual cars. So, but as we know, Man with the Cash is a Ferrari driver. Shane is a Racing Point driver. Peppermeat's a McLaren driver. And Marco, he's reserved, so obviously if it gets into any of those cars, he will be scoring points for that specific team. So, obviously, if Shane is in a Ferrari, for example's sake, if Shane's in a Ferrari and he scores points, obviously the constructors' points will not go to Ferrari, it will go to Racing Point.
Yes, very, very correct. I'm glad you brought it up. That's a very valid point. So Senna. So this is RSF1 Senna, who's using a different account on Twitch actually at the minute. Says, "Do you miss commentating on me?" Yes, Senna. I really,
We do.
really, really miss commentating on you, so I do. Rolex says, there isn't much commentating done, Senna. You always crashed.
Oh,
What a bird.
a little bit
bird.
of fire going on in the chat at the moment.
What a bird.
I think for season 2 we should hire fire marshals just for the chat.
Get maybe an ambulance or two as well.
You know, a bit of aloe vera. You know, if any of you just want to like wrap your phone in cling film and aloe vera, you know, just to stop the burns from getting through, because they could seriously hurt.
Very much so. Very much so. We're down to it now. Primus, less than 2 minutes to go in Q3.
Everyone's going out on their outlaps except for Azza, who has crashed out and will be starting in 5th place as of at the moment, with a minute and a half to spare in Q3. John Digweed, he is now going onto his outlap, and Brundle, he starts his flying lap. So everyone's now beginning their laps. So we'll get on board quickly with the potential on how he does. Oh, and he's actually gone off a little bit in his outlap.
He crashed.
Oh, Brundle's crashed out. That could potentially cost him. Oh no!
Brundle.
I literally just took my eyes off of Brundle for 1 minute. Just 1 minute. I look at Skunkburner and then Brundle crashes.
I just quickly jumped on board with Brundle. Next thing you see the car going straight towards the wall. Like, oh, please stay in the front left wheel just pop off it came. Commentator's curse or what? I don't know, but Brundle, unfortunately, he's out.
If not many people beat his time, he could still start pretty high up. Obviously, he's just lost his ability to put in a lap in the last few moments. But anyways, we're on board with Skunkburner, who is going to be potentially fighting for the championship lead. Stretch is actually about to cross the line, isn't he?
Stretch on
he is.
He's on his lap this minute.
There we go with WR Stretch in the Renault. He's had a really good season so far. He's actually gotten his first podium back in Belgium. Can WR Stretch try and bring some points home for Renault? I know they've had a bit of a choppy start to the qualifying, and that's the end of Q3. So Stretch has to make this count. WR Stretch goes over the last curve. He crosses the line, and he goes P8.
Not bad.
Very good run there.
Let's see
who's next to cross the line.
Boom, boom. The runner's starting their laps, to be honest.
I mean, Magic Marks is now approaching the hairpin.
Yeah, Peter. Oh, sorry, Peter.
Right, so let's have a little look. Yep, there you go. He's now going onto the straight. So now going through to 130R in a moment. We'll keep an eye on these lads. This is the important part. Can they knock Brundle down, or can they knock Magic Marks off the top spot? So as it stands, currently in the top 3, Magic Marks first, Brundle second, Skunkburner third. Can Paita put himself up into the top 3 starting positions? He's on the second row. Can Paita do it? No, he can't. Paita stays 4th.
Magic Marks done last chicane here. I'm trying to look at his dash on the screen. I can't see whether he's up or down at the minute. It looks like a solid lap, but it looks fast.
And he goes across the line.
Oh,
128.2. A faster lap. Could that secure him? Skunkburner. Oh, and Skunkburner just misses out on 128.4. Jake Moore gets 4th place. Oh, and actually someone moved up into the top 3. They knocked Brundle down. The game turned off. Well, not turned off. It took that board off, so I couldn't see who took 3rd place. They knocked Brundle down.
Jake Moore got 4th?
It's John Digweed!
Brilliant.
John Digweed got provisional pole!
What?
John Digweed! He got 1st place in the Mercedes! What the heck? Alright, so going over the classifications for Q3. John Digweed taking provisional pole in the race start in the Mercedes. What a run! I didn't even see him go through there. Magic Marks, 2nd place. Skunkburner, 3rd. Brundle, even after crashing out, he's still on the 2nd row. So at least Brundle, he's not too far behind the starting lot. Jake Moore 5th in the Red Bull. Petronas 6th in the McLaren. Paita 7th in the Mercedes. Azza 8th in the Red Bull after crashing. Stretch in 9th and Schumacher in 10th. And Schumacher was actually the only car in Q3 to have not set a qualifying lap.
That's really going to hurt Schumacher, because during practice this week, he was up there. He was up there with the magic marks, the skunk burners. He was up there, so that's really going to hurt him going into this race. Invalidated on the final lap. No. RSF1 juniors have put in chat there saying that they invalidated on the final lap. That must be for Roberts. Roberts must have invalidated on the final lap. That is heartbreaking. So it is absolutely heartbreaking.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the transition period of between qualifying and the race. So this is where we take a moment to for the drivers to think over the strategies, their tyre compounds, because obviously quite a few have joined in late, so they also had the opportunity to put their setups corresponding to the track on. So we could see a little bit of thinking between the lads. Then we get the formation lap, and then we get Bodder's famous run through on the formation lap. Come on, we can't. It's not a Sunday. It's not a Sunday race without Bodder's formation lap.
Oh, it's famous.
Is that a second one? Did you grab a 4-pack, my friend?
Why not? Why not? Come on, it's Sunday.
Did you grab a 4-pack?
No, I grabbed like a 3-pack.
Oh, then why are you not sharing? I thought we were partners. Come on, don't leave a brother hanging.
I'll text it to you, okay? Over my phone.
That sounds good. I'll wait until Mexico to crack open.
Yeah, I won't leave you hanging, don't worry, I promise.
Alright, so we're going to hang on for a moment. And also, while Bodder goes over the formation lap, obviously, it's not started yet because we're in the transition period. When we go over the formation lap, take that as an opportunity to quickly pop to the loop. But I want to stay with you guys until then, because obviously I can hold it. But we'll wait for these guys to...
It's okay. Like, Magic Mark, 50-point lead. That's a 2-race advantage straight off the bat. He needs every point he can get. He can't afford to have a bad race. If he gets no points and say Skunk wins, boom, you're within 25 points of the championship win. We've got 4 or 5 races left to go.
Oh, no!
No!
We've lost Revan Kevin, Racing Jason, Man with the Cash,
Josh Dash. Boom, insane. How about that?
That was scary. That was scary.
That was scary.
Oh my god. That is probably going to be one of my pinnacle moments of the career as a commentator. That moment when you are on par with someone, not just like in racing, but in the there he is.
There we go. Come on,
to start.
Bring it back, Jason. Bring it back. By the way, he completely leveled me that weekend on Sunday night. He was on the podium. I was like, "Oh, Josh, welcome to the podium." My name's like Josh. It's Jason. Completely leveled me. I didn't know what to say.
Your mind.
My mind went gone straight out the window. Just reading the chat there real quick. Senna says, "Can't wait for Buzz famous formation lap." Ooh, I like that. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You've got some fans.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Luke says, "How many will get through turn 1? Take your bets." I reckon the two drivers are fairly good. We're going to see everyone get through. Although we've some fast drivers at the back, including Schumacher, who was meant to get third, in qualifying the Q3, is now back down to 10th. So he'll be looking for a good push. The guys way up there. And in the chat says, Junior says, "What are you drinking?" I don't know, man. It's some wheat beer or some polar stuff I got in the shop today, but it's really, really good. It's really good.
I'll take this moment actually to go to the toilet while you interact with the chat.
Yeah, sure. AMS. Oh no, the cash is left again. No, we don't want that. We don't want that. AMS Easton is after saying no, not Revan Kevin. Yeah, Revan Kevin's left again. Hopefully, he can get back in time before the group readies up. We don't really want to see. We want to see as many drivers as we can, even though yes, they might be sacked at the back of the field, but you don't want to see drivers obviously losing that due to technical issues they're having or whatever issues they're having like that. So, but look, all good. How are you guys? In the chat? I'm going to take a moment to have another drink. Yes, my mic is crackling. I don't know why it's crackling. I can turn it off and turn it back on again. Let's try that. Yeah, I am back. Oh no, he cannot race the car. He's gone. Oh no, he's in. Let's see. Oh no, his name is actually on there. That is going to be difficult. If his car's not there, he can't obviously race. Now the cash. Even lads, don't know what's going on with my Xbox tonight. Okay. Jason, have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? That's not good. Yeah, that is certainly not good. Sometimes, dude, it just takes a hard reset. So if you just disconnect the power cable, leave it off for a few seconds, let it power down completely, and then plug it back in. Hopefully it'll come back for you. But that's a long reboot, and you're going to be leaving the guys, obviously. 35 euros. Reset the factory default. Yeah, reset the factory default just before you do a league race. Holy God.
I've returned.
Don't do
that was a good time.
Primus, welcome back. Oh, we've re-upped as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the countdown. Let me just
34 viewers.
Yeah,
at the ready.
Looking good, dude.
Right, so this is that moment again, ladies and gents. This man here, he's going to be giving you the formation lap.
EPS, what are the odds of full wets for the races? Yeah, that's true. That could be true. All right, so starting from the back, unfortunately, we joined today. What is in a McLaren?
Is this a race start?
No, it's not.
A formation lap?
It should be formation lap. Let's go. They look like they're racing, don't they? They look for
they are racing.
racing.
Yeah. I thought he was getting a formation lap.
Well, they kind of very quick if they did.
Yeah. Oh, well, John Digweed takes the lead of the... I don't even know how to start. We normally get a formation lap. That's a bit of a shame. Well...
Is this not the formation
anyways...
lap? This is lap one.
No, this is the race start. Yeah, this is the race start. We normally get a formation lap.
Alright, let me just go on and have a quick investigation on.
Yeah, I'm a little bit frazzled by that. Well, I mean, we'll ride along anyways, but we are currently investigating to see about maybe a possible race restart, as normally a formation lap is required, because obviously we've been doing that for the entire season. This is the first time ever where no formation lap has been mandated, so we are going to have a little look into that. Bod is just going to have a little bit of a dig around. And we've lost Brundle! So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. I had no idea what to say, because I was prepared for Bod's famous formation lap, and then just nothing. Restart.
So guys, we're actually doing a full restart. What happened was the formation lap was took off in the lobby. It should have been on. It's unfair on some drivers because some drivers are obviously expecting, 1, 2 lights, then start a formation lap. And unfortunately, they started the race. So that's an unfortunate start for them. So we're going to call it, do a quick restart, get everyone back in the lobby. It's a chance for amount of cash as well to get back in. Some drivers obviously get some issues getting back in. So we'll call that now. Are you okay with that, Primus?
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay with that. So we're going to wrap up for this moment, ladies and gentlemen, just to make this a two-parter. Please join back with us in just a short moment as we will see you all again in the race restart. So please stay tuned and we will see you momentarily.
Guys, back in 5 minutes. If not, hopefully 10. But I say back in 5 minutes.